Well, drink it in, boys, because this is the last time you will see this car in primer. What's going on, guys? Brian back with BLOKgarage, and yep, it's finally time to paint the 280Z. This is a long time coming, almost 2 years of rust repair and bodywork and some other miscellaneous stuff here and there. But we are finally ready for paint. So I just want to catch you up real quick with what we've done. Last video, I sprayed primer on the car, the urethane primer. Since then, I have gone and sanded all of that down. I didn't want to bore you guys with another sanding video because that's all we've been doing lately. But rest assured, every single panel that has been sprayed with urethane primer has been sanded. It is ready to go. Now, beyond that, I'll just catch you up real quick with what I've been doing this week in the garage. So, we need to paint, which means we need as dust-free of an environment as we can. So I have been building a paint booth in here. So if you look around, we got all this plastic hanging up here. I picked this plastic up at Walmart. It's fairly cheap. I got 3 of the 10 by 25 rolls because that's what fits in my garage almost perfectly. As you can see, we've got 3 sections up here, three different walls. Now, this is going to become a permanent feature in the garage, but obviously I cannot leave this down like this because it'd be way too annoying, and I'm gonna have future stuff that's gonna need to be painted, so I didn't want to put the walls up and rip them down and have to completely build it all again in the future, because gonna have to paint stuff like the spoiler, the flares, the taillight panel, all the old rusty crap in the car, like the pedal box comes to mind. That's all old and rusty, needs to be cleaned up and painted. So we're gonna have other stuff to paint in here besides just the car. So and you never know in the future. Now that I know how to do bodywork and paint, maybe I'll do some other project. So anyways, I didn't want to rip all this stuff down and have to rebuild it again, like I said. So I have built this in 3 sections, 3 walls. And we put scrap wood at the bottom to give it some weight, hold it to the ground, but also make it nice and stiff on the bottom so you can roll it up. And it rolls 100% up right to the rafters of the garage and tucks completely out of the way. I'm just going to have some rope or something up there to tie it up, and it'll stay there. Every single one of these walls tucks right up against the ceiling perfectly. So we have an essential paint booth going forward. Now I have also, as you can see, I got this one rolled up right now. That's going to go right to the ground. We got an inlet fan here. The garage door is going to go down, and our other inlet fan is going to go at the bottom with some plywood to seal everything off, seal the opening off like I've done in the past. Might not be enough airflow. I might end up having to pick up a couple more fans, but we're going to try it for now. So I spent the time, we've sealed it as good as I could up at the top, all stapled, taped up there. I believe we're good to go as far as I can reasonably do in this garage with sealing out all the dust. It's not going to be perfect. I have accepted that. There's going to be dust, but I think I've done the best I can. To go along with that, we obviously need to do something with the corners. So the corners, to keep it as tight as we can, I've got magnets taped on there. They just attach to the track on the garage door. That works well. And that, because if we permanently attach those with tape, obviously I couldn't roll the doors up. The corners here, I need to get in and out. So we've done the same. I've got magnets on these corners so they stick together, magnets on this corner so those stick together. It works well. I did want to pick up zippers, some nice wide zippers that with self-adhesive that would stick right on there. Other people have used, however, I couldn't get them in time, so I might change over to that. But that's where we are. I'm going to have to come in and out of here because we're going to have to be mixing paint and everything on the bench here, so that's where we're going to come in and out. And I've made it just as big as I can in the garage to give me the most space around the car so I'm not cramped up against the car when I'm painting. So it is a little tight on the edges, and right now it's quite annoying getting in and out of the garage because I've got the engine, transmission, welder sitting here, the engine crane's up there. That stuff's not permanent. I just have no place to put it right now, so I'm just going to have to sneak in and out around that stuff. But it's whatever. Once that stuff's in the car, I'll have plenty of room to walk in and out. We'll just have to deal with it for now. So I've spent my morning so far. Well, this is what I've done basically every night this week after work, is getting this thing all set up. I'm very happy with it now. And we have tried rolling that all up. It rolls right up to the ceiling quite easily. I've been doing it with 2 people just because it's such a long distance, try to roll up evenly. But anyways, so this morning, to try to keep the dust down as much as we can, I have blown all of the rafters down in where I've got the lights mounted on there, just because dust settles on there. Blown them down a couple times, letting the dust settle now. And then I'm going to do another final sweep and mop in here to try to get all this crap off the floor again. And then it's time to pull the car in and begin masking. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go finish this up, get this cleaned up as good as I can. And I'll catch back up with you guys once it's time to start masking the car. And we'll go over my paint strategy for what we're going to do on the shell there. All right, guys. So I went ahead and got the car all masked. It's all in here. Pulled the suspension off because we need to get access to where the coilovers would mount, all that stuff, even up in the engine bay. We got to get all that stuff out of the way. So the car's up on jack stands now. It's not moving till it is covered in paint. So the strategy is we're actually going to do the body in 3 stages. So we're going to do the interior first. I figured the interior is the best place to start because it's the least impactful. If I mess something up, it's most likely going to be covered and nobody's ever going to notice. Good place to practice. Then once that clear is all hardened enough that we can put tape on it, we're going to do the engine bay. So we're going to bag the back half of the car. I got to do some more masking once I pull that plastic off up underneath where I don't want paint to get when I'm painting the bay. And then once that's done, we'll pull all that off and mask off the interior and the engine bay, and we'll spray the exterior. So most likely I'm not going to get color on the exterior of the car this weekend because we have to wait a while for that clear to set up enough that we can put tape on it, most likely overnight. And we have to stay within our temperature ranges. It's, I can't do anything if it's below 70 or above 80. So that is the plan for today. This is already, the paint shop is all ready to go. I've got the filters, fans going, so we got airflow in here. But we need to wait for it to reach 70 degrees, which is good. Like I said, we're at 68 now, so we got to get up about 70 before we can start spraying, which gives me time to clean in here, get this fully ready, and then temperature should be good, and we should be able to start spraying. So to wipe that down, we got a few things we're going to do. So obviously we got some lint-free microfiber towels. Get these ones right at AutoZone, pretty cheap, and then they turn into good rags after. I don't reuse them. And then this is actually a tip that I got from Paint Society YouTube channel. The first thing I'm going to do is hit it with this cheap glass cleaner. That gets rid of a lot of the oils and stuff from your skin and all that stuff from touching it. A lot of people don't do this step. You just go to the wax and grease remover, but they said it's a very good, quick, and cheap extra line of defense of having oils and stuff contaminating your surface. And then we're going to hit it with the wax and grease remover. This stuff I just get right off Amazon. And by the way, most of the stuff that I use will be links down in the description. If you guys need to buy it, you can just go down there and click it. Make it super easy for you. So we got wax and grease remover. You absolutely have to use this before you paint. And I've just got some in a spray bottle here just to make it a little easier. So we're going to go hit it up with this stuff real quick. And I will say, the interior sucks. Everything about it. Getting around all this crap. And one thing I'm happy about is, so I already washed the interior, actually the whole car. I got a bucket of dish soap and water, and I've already washed everything the other day. And that came back, when I was washing that, those rags were nasty. But I think I did a pretty good job because my rags, even now with this stuff, coming back nice and clean. All right, I'll wipe down, and that was perfect timing because it is now exactly 70 degrees in here. So we're gonna get started. The plan is 2 to 3 coats of color, Probably only one coat of clear, but I'm not sure on that one yet. But most likely just one coat of clear on the interior, just because that seems to be pretty common. Anyways, don't worry about it now. So the plan is now to start spraying base coat. We are all set on the interior, although right before we spray, I'm going to wipe it down with a tack rag. We'll get to that in just a second. So let's go here and mix up our paint. So a couple things I want to go over with real quick. Looking at my TDS sheet, last night I was watching some videos actually by Paint Society on just to make sure I wasn't forgetting anything. I knew what was going on, all that stuff. Where this is my first time spraying color and clear, and I realized that I need a 1.3 to 1.5 fluid tip. I had picked up a much better gun than this cheap Amazon one. It's basically the same as the Harbor Freight one here, the purple one. I picked that one up because I needed the bigger tips to spray the polyester filler primer. So my plan was, what did I do? Oh, it's right in front of me. My plan was to use this Black Widow gun from Harbor Freight. And it's very nice, at least compared to what I'm used to. Supposedly it's a knockoff of a Seda gun, which are really nice guns. I picked this up a while ago. Before I really knew a whole lot about what I was doing, I definitely didn't know anything about the fluid tip sizes. And this actually comes with a 1.7 tip, which according to our TDS sheet and what I see online is too big to use for color and clear. Our TDS sheet specifically says for a gravity HVLP gun, 1.3 to 1.4 tip. So 1.7 is too big. Now supposedly I could make it work, but this is my first time spraying color and clear. I would rather do it the right way first. So this gun came with a 1.4 tip. So I'm going to use this. This is what I've been using for my primers, my epoxy and my polyester, and yeah, all of them, every primer. So this is fine for now. I'm going to use it on the interior and engine bay this weekend is the plan, and then hopefully run to Harbor Freight and exchange that for the other gun, which is actually an HTE gun, high transfer efficiency. I looked it up last night, and I believe it sprays the same as an HVLP gun. But anyways, that's the plan. So this gun will be fine for the interior. I don't know why. It sprays just fine. So anyways, to go over our products. Once again, we are using Eastwood products. I've used Eastwood for everything. Best to stick with the same manufacturer when you are painting. That way you don't get any weird interactions with your products. So we have their low VOC base coat urethane here. It's tinted in the color that I want, kind of. We got the urethane activator here. This is medium speed, see 70 to 80. We're using Eastwood's High Solids Clear with their activator, also 70 to 80. So that's why we need to spray it today before it gets hot, after it warms up. So where we're at now. Anyways, I guess it's time for you guys to see what color the car's going to be, because I need to mix this up. So this is 4-to-1, I believe. Where does it say on here? Yeah, so it's 4-to-1. So we got 4 parts paint, 1 part of activator. So going to be using the cups with the liners. These I've been using, I got this pack of 50 of them, I believe. Liners, and where's the caps? Caps right here, because the cap's got a filter built right into it. It's so much better than using these hard cups, because you don't have to clean this. You just throw it right away. I picked those up off Amazon, so again, link in the description. But let's get mixed up. It's time to paint. Let's just get to it. So yeah, we're going with white. We will go over that here in just a second on why, but yeah, maybe once we lay the first coat down. But yeah, it's gonna be white.
All right, we're all set up. I got the gun all set up. The TDS says 30 to 45 PSI. Online, I'm seeing everybody says 25 to 30 PSI, so I put it at 30. We'll try that. We're gonna go new pod filter here, new desiccant in the dryer. As ready as we're gonna be. Now, the interior is gonna be really annoying to spray, so I honestly don't know how much you guys are gonna see on the interior. You might only see a little bit just to show you. Anyways, let's move on. I wet the floor down. I wet the walls down. We're good to go. I'll be honest. I'm honestly pretty nervous about this. Man, this is so hard to spray in back there. I don't understand how you're supposed to spray everything. This is crazy. Oh! Oh my god, the first coat is done. That sucks. I remember the interior sucking, but that was horrible trying to get it around everything. But first coat's done, 10 to 15 minutes last time, and then we can do the second coat. I'm probably not going to involve you guys in the rest of it, or at least the second coat of this. I'll catch back up with you guys when we're at the clear. Alright guys, we got 2 coats on here, and it is insanely white. Very bright. So the white that I actually chose is pure white. It is no pigment. So we have 2 coats on there. Very good coverage. I've looked all around it. I don't see anywhere that needs more paint. It actually covered really well, especially for it being on black. So we're on to clear. So we're on to the clear coat now. Never sprayed clear either, so we're gonna get that done. Not sure if we're doing 1 or 2 coats. I think I'm gonna spray 1 coat, see how it goes, and go from there. But we need to mix up the clear. I got my gun all ready. Gun's all clean and everything. You can see just how much overspray's on everything else. You know, it all just coats everything. So we got a bunch of dust in here. I am going to. It's going to be dusty. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it, right? There's going to be dust, especially on the interior. Even though how many times I cleaned that, I know that there was crap stuck underneath everything, and I had a couple pieces blow around. I picked them out, but overall, for the interior, I'm happy. We are coated, but we need clear. So let's move on to that. I think we need to. We're going to tack rag this one more time, which again, I'm not that worried about on the interior using a tack rag because again, it's going to have dust in there. It's not a big deal. But I'll clean that up again real quick. We'll mix up our clear and see how it goes. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm going to wet the floor down again though. Going to wet the floor down again. And I'm also going to wet the walls again. Because as you can see, dust. So, yeah. I guess that's it. Let me stop talking. Let me go mix up the clear. And I don't know. Let's see how that goes. Alright guys, it's time. It's all mixed up. I tacked, ragged the interior in there. Nothing left to do besides make sure the gun is all set, check our spray pattern, and we'll go paint. Or clear, I guess. And I believe I'm only going to do 1 coat. Well, let's see though. So, let's see what happens. Oh, and we are done, guys. Clear coat is on. Quick thoughts. I hate doing the interior. It's not fun. But the worst part of the whole job is done now. So we never have to touch the interior again unless there's touch-ups here and there. White definitely shows all the little dust that's in it because I can see it in there now. We definitely got shit in the paint and or clear. Again, expected. Disappointing, but expected. It's really not going to matter. You know, standing back here, I can't see it. You get up close, you can see it. So whatever, it's going to be covered for the most part. We're sticking with one coat. And what now? So I got to let this sit up a bit, and then we're going to start peeling off this plastic on the front of the car. You know, once that is not wet anymore, we don't have to worry about damaging it. I'll start peeling off this crap so we can bag the whole back of the car and get ready to paint and clear the engine bay. So that's where we're at. Overall, the airflow in here isn't terrible. It's not as bad as I expected with only 2 fans, one in, one out. It's definitely harder to see the normal in here, but a lot of that actually is on my glasses. So that, you know, when you spray in the interior, it just sprays right back in your face. It sucks. So definitely wear safety glasses. I probably should have put some of my over ones on top of my glasses, but it's too late now. Yeah, it is what it is. However this turns out, it's way better than it was when we got this car 2 years ago. So I'll check back with you guys once we, I don't know, when we start peeling stuff off. I'll catch back up with you guys in a bit.
All right, guys, day 2, and I didn't think to grab you some clips of how that looks now. We'll do that after. Today we are painting the engine bay, though. I've got this all ready. We obviously masked everything off yesterday. I did that after my, well, I did most of it after we finished with the inside, and I let the clear harden a bit. I had to wait till this morning, though, to put all the tape on the back side of the firewall. I think I mentioned that yesterday. So we're gonna get that off as soon as we can. As soon as this can reasonably be pulled off without ruining the clear on here, we're gonna pull all this off so that just in case there's some issues with it potentially pulling off the clear on the inside, we minimize that. So hopefully we should be good. We left it overnight. The TDS says to wait at least 8 hours. It's been way more than 8 hours. So yeah, we're ready. I have already wiped this down with the glass cleaner and the wax and grease remover. I got to hit it with the tack rag real quick right before we paint, but other than that, I think we're ready. I got to wet the floor down and wet the walls down too. But yeah, I'm happy with how the interior came out. Definitely not perfect. I'll go over all the imperfections that I found after the fact, but I'm happy considering just how terrible it is to paint in there. The engine bay, we got some concerns today. It's going to be way better than yesterday because it's less surface area. There's, you know, no roof and everything. I got to try to get up underneath, but I do have to climb in the engine bay, which actually I'll slide underneath. So the issue is when after I paint this side and I get to this side, I got to make sure I don't touch this side on accident. I did try real quick when I did the epoxy primer way back to try to paint everything from the outside. I can't do it. I can't get it. I'm sure somebody who is more skilled at using the gun probably can get in everywhere, but I couldn't. So going to do it by rolling underneath there. So I don't think we're going to try any POV shots today because I'm climbing in and out of the bay and you can't really see much. So I'm just going to throw you on the tripod, set you over here in the corner, and you guys can see what's going on, and then we'll update you as it comes.
Mixing it. Oh, damn. Alright, so I got 2 coats on there right now. I'm going to see if there's any little touch-ups that need to be done, but that's super easy. It's really hard to get around everywhere, all the angles and stuff. Once this is done, I'm so glad I don't have to do the interior stuff. It'd be nice to have a nice flat tail and actually just spray. But anyways, I did have a couple mishaps there. I did barely touch my hip to the inside edge, very bottom of the frame rail on the passenger side. Looking right now, I can kind of see it. It's not going to matter. It's way down bottom. Other than that, I don't think there's any issues with touching. I still got the clear to do, which is a bit, what do I want to say? A bit more touchy. Stays soft for longer. But anyways, also, my liner, where it seals around the top edge when you put the cap on, it fell down. I didn't notice when I put the cap on, it fell down around the edge. So when I picked my gun up, it started running out, and I got, well, you can't see it. I got paint on my shoe. I got some on the floor over there, but I had to stop and pick that up real quick, clean up. But I'll just make sure I pay attention to that because when I pushed that top on, I must have pushed that edge in. So a little annoying. Anyways, I'm going to go do quick touch-ups. We'll let this all set up, get ready, evacuate, and we'll do the clear in a bit. All right, we're ready for the clear. I just took a tack rag, threw everything in there to get any little dust off, which there was some paint dust from overspray on there. So we're good to go. I got the clear all mixed up. Let's start clearing. All right, time for the second coat. Like I mentioned, I'm only doing the inside of the engine bay this time. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to the fumes in the air. I'm not sure, it doesn't seem too bad right now, but people kept telling me that I need more fans in here, at least another one on each end. It hasn't been that bad in here, but I want you guys to watch, see how much fumes are actually in the air, how much it's fogging up in here, and how well it's evacuating, because we've analyzed it'd be better to fix it now than before, or than when we were doing the exterior of the car. But let's get spraying. I think I'm going to spray this just leaning over. I don't think I'm going to get underneath this time. Nope. Change my mind, I don't like it, I'm getting underneath. We're done. Let's let it wait. We're going to wait about an hour, and then we'll start peeling stuff off.
All right, guys, it's all done. So check it out. I am extremely happy with how this has turned out. So, like I mentioned, I did 2 coats in here, basically from here in, and to that line at the top of the firewall back there. 2 coats, and it makes a huge difference in how that clear coat looks. So, I don't know if it's going to pick it up well on camera, but if you can tell here, it's kind of textured there still. And then if you move over to here, it's not 100% smooth. There's still a little bit of orange peel in it, But I would say equivalent to a factory finish. It makes a huge difference because that first coat of clear coat you put on, you do fairly light because you don't want it to run, and it gives your second coat something to bite onto, so you can actually lay your second coat heavier, and it helps it smooth out. So I'm very happy with how this looks. Now we do have some imperfections. Notably down here, I can't hardly even tell, but I touched it right there, the paint. Trying to think. I did get a couple runs, one right there and one right there. And I thought when I was doing it that might happen because when I'm coming around here with my gun, this is so much closer, and I probably had the gun a little bit closer. And it's a perfectly vertical surface. So we got runs there. I'm really not worried about it. Most of the stuff you're never going to see. You're going to have a big old turbo sitting here. Intake manifold's going to go right here. You're never going to see that stuff. This was the exterior, it would obviously have to be wet sanded and taken down. But overall, other than that, this, I noticed when I was spraying the clear, apparently that's a piece of my tack rag. Actually, it's coming off right now. I'm going to stop messing with that. Piece of my tack rag got stuck on right there, apparently, and I didn't notice until it already had clear in it. I tried to wipe it off while I was spraying that first coat of clear. Stopped because it was just making it worse. So it's really not a big deal. This, you're going to have strut tower bar going over here. Again, there's going to be a big turbo sitting right there, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm also not worried about showing you guys the imperfections. We're learning, right? So the exterior has to be done still. That's going to be next weekend. So today's Sunday for me. I got to work tomorrow. So planning on next Saturday, as long as weather cooperates, spraying the exterior of the car, and it will be done. So over the week, we'll wait for this to all harden up, and we'll tape all this stuff off. Going to have a little bit of overlap here, so probably, I'm pretty sure I have to scuff that up just a little bit before we lay color and clear on top of that clear, which will be super easy. I put the line where I did because this is all hidden everywhere down here. This is behind the, where the doors mount. Nobody will ever see that. It's going to look a little funny there because you're going to have a tape line. But we're fine. We're good. So a couple things that I noticed on the interior that I didn't show you guys yesterday. Right here, because I was spraying from the inside, I didn't notice. I didn't get these little areas right here. Same thing on the other side. And this one I'm more, I wouldn't say upset, but disappointed in, is right here, the top of both the strut towers. I didn't get enough material right there. So it is what it is. So this is the interior, right, guys? So what I'm thinking is just pick up a can of gloss white at some point, just some regular gloss white paint. I might even get the exact same stuff from Eastwood because they do sell it in touch-up pens and cans of paint for this stuff. And maybe just at some point, just hit it real quick if it's noticeable. I'm really not worried about it, but there's so many areas that you just can't get, especially on the interior, like, because this is all masked off back here. You cannot get, at least I can't. I don't know how you'd ever get that stuff. I did it when I was spraying the epoxy in there. I actually had my gun back here because I wasn't worried about masking everything off out here, and just, I sprayed it from the back, but can't do that with it all masked up. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So for you guys, in just a few minutes, we'll be starting on painting the exterior. So I'll see you guys then. Oh, by the way, I am going to go to Harbor Freight and exchange this gun. I already talked to them since it's brand new. The other one that I need with the right size tip, it's the same price. They're gonna exchange it for me. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pick up some more supplies. I need more filters for my fans because those get plugged, and I didn't realize I was on my last one. So yeah, other than that, a couple mishaps, right? When that liner kind of fell down or whatever, leaked some paint out. Got to make sure I keep an eye on that. And what was the other thing that happened? Oh, when I forgot to mix up the paint and the activator. I don't know how I did that. Definitely got to make sure to do that. I mean, everything looks fine. This is where I sprayed it down here. It's such a minor spot that it wouldn't really matter anyway, but there's plenty of paint coverage on there. Looks just fine. So, anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys in a few minutes when we're ready to spray the exterior. Hey guys, so it's a couple days later, and it's finally time to paint the exterior of the car. I got everything all set up in here. I actually took today off of work because it's gonna be mid-70s today. So I need a good temperature right out here to paint. Humidity's pretty low. It's not raining, so we're good there. Now, it was freaking 40 degrees when I got up this morning. I've been waiting. It's about, I don't know, 9 o'clock, I think, something like that. Been waiting for it to warm up, and it just wasn't quick enough for me. So I borrowed this propane heater, and it is blasting out here. 10 minutes ago or so, when we set that up, it was maybe 53, 55, and we're up to 67 out here now. So it works really quick because we got a nice small enclosed space in here, right? So I'm about to shut that off because obviously I'm not running that while we get the paint fumes all blowing around in here and stuff. So I'll get that off. Got to mop the floor, get it wet, and wet down the walls, mix up the paint, but we're good to go. I gotta wipe down the car too. Still gotta wipe down the car. Man, that thing puts out some heat. It's also thinking, what if I use that propane heater to bake the paint after? Because that's what they do. If you're in a professional shop in a paint booth, they bake it to make it cure faster. So one thing I have, speaking of that, one thing that I didn't really know about or prepare myself mentally about before is it takes a bit before the clear is actually hard enough that you can handle it. So within an hour-ish, it's not tacky or anything anymore. You can touch it, you can rub it, although it's still soft. You don't want to really press on it or anything. You're still gonna be a little careful, but even the next day, you come out here and do a fingernail test. You take your fingernail and go to an inconspicuous spot, somewhere where nobody's going to see, and press your fingernail into it. It's still soft. You can still make an indentation. I did notice after 2 days, it's all nice and hard, and you can't make a fingernail imprint anymore. So it actually takes quite a bit. But even beyond that, it's still off-gassing. So you don't want to start bolting stuff on. So it's going to take 3, 4, 5 days probably before I'm comfortable enough to start bolting panels on, which means this thing's going to need to sit in the barn all that long while we bring other stuff in here to paint and wait for it to harden. So it's a process. Man, it is getting hot in here really quick. I'm going to go turn that off. Anyways, so we've got the car obviously all masked off. I masked off the engine bay. We're going to have a little bit of overlap here where I painted because that's all hidden, just so I don't get there's going to be a tape line, but just so I don't miss any. And I've got everything all taped off back here, taped off underneath. Like I mentioned, just need to wet the floors, wet the walls. We're good to go. So catch back up with you guys once it's actually time to lay some paint down.
All right, we're good to go. Oh, by the way, I did pick up our exchange for the other gun from Harbor Freight, and I picked up a dedicated air hose just for spraying.
Holy guys, the car is finally painted. Yeah, it's just a shell, but this is such a major step in the car, and I am incredibly happy with how this turned out. It is not perfect, but is really good and I'm really happy with it. So let's go over a couple things real quick. That was a lot of work. Just getting this shell painted, 3 steps. This took me a couple weeks because you have to sit and you can't, as soon as it dries, which it's dry to the touch within an hour-ish, maybe a little sooner, you still can't touch it. If you go put tape on it, it's going to imprint, it's going to lift the clear off. So you got to let it sit for at least 2 days, I found. After 2 days of fingernail test, pressing your fingernail into it, is when it feels hard. But that is still not when you can actually start working on the car and start bolting stuff on. If I go start bolting, say we had the doors done at this point, go to bolt those on, it's going to imprint into the paint there, which it's not a huge deal right there because you'll never see it. But, still, like the flares, if those were ready, the spoiler, I can't bolt those on right now, even if they were ready. So that really slows the progress down. That's, like I said, it took me a couple weeks to get this stuff done between, obviously I have to work. So, I got stuff to do. This isn't the only thing I'm doing. So getting the interior done, waiting so we can tape that off, and then doing the bay, waiting so we can tape that off, and then doing the exterior. It's a long process, longer than I anticipated, but we're done, and I'm really happy with it. So let's go over a couple things real quick. I do have some runs. I don't know how well they'll pick them up on the lighting here. We got one right there. We got some right here. It looks like the clear collected around these holes and ran down. It's barely noticeable right now. If you get it out in the sun, I would imagine it'll show up better. We got one right here. And the worst one is right here. This one's pretty bad. They're all in the clear, though, so it's way better to have a run in the clear than it is in the color, because if it's in the color and you don't notice it and put the clear on, you have to sand it all back down and re-clear the panel. So luckily, this is not that hard to fix, provided there's enough on there, enough clear, that we can just basically scrape and sand this down and buff it, and it's good to go, which we're going to end up buffing the whole car anyway, because even though I did the best I could with putting the booth up, having the filters for the plastic, trying to wet everything down, I still obviously got dust in it. And the finish is not 100% perfect. There is definitely dust in it, and it's going to need to be buffed. So we're going to have to learn how to do that. I've never done that before. But overall, I am incredibly happy with it. So next up, just real quick, and by the way, obviously it's back on the ground. I threw the suspension back in it real quick when I got home from work tonight, and threw the wheels on it just so we could put it on the ground. Man, does it look good. I mean, even without all the rest of the panels and without the flares and everything on it, it looks great. I'm really liking the choice to go with white right now. But let me know what you guys think. I mean, I know there's some people that absolutely hate white. There's some people that absolutely hate red. And I like both of them. So let me know what you guys think, though. If you have any questions, I think I'm going to do a video when we're done the painting, just to go over what I have learned, because coming into this project of painting the car, doing all this body work and everything, I learned a ton. I learned a ton of stuff. I probably am not going to be able to remember it all to tell you guys, but I think it would be a great video once we get done and I go over my thoughts of, the whole process, basically. Because I went into this as somebody who has essentially never done bodywork before, never painted before. Everything I learned is from watching videos on YouTube, asking a couple people questions that were really, really good at getting back to me and answering all my questions and giving me tips. So thank you, Zach and Eddie. Seriously, you have been an amazing resource to answer my stupid questions all along. I'm sure I have been incredibly annoying, but I really appreciate the help. Also, Kevin Tates, he has been a great resource. He's been answering some of my questions too. And I mentioned this before, but I took his Paintucation course. Check that out. It's at paintucation.com. You can sign up and take a full course that goes over, essentially every step, starting from bare metal and doing repairs and all that stuff. There's a beginner and a professional course. Also, he has a YouTube channel, Paintucation by Kevin Tates, which goes over, he's working on a Camaro, and he worked on Derek from Vice Grip's Garage OBS truck. That stuff he's doing now. He has a bunch of videos on there with a lot of knowledge. So I would highly suggest checking him out. There's a ton of free resources also on YouTube. Paint Society's one that I got a lot of knowledge out of. But anyways, I think I'll go over that later. Let's just kind of walk around and admire. It is definitely not perfect. There's a bit of orange peel in it, but not bad. I would say it's equivalent to a factory finish, just looking at it. I'm happy with where it is for somebody who has never painted and is painting in my garage. I think once we get this out and get all of this dust and the runs out of it and stuff, I think it's going to look really, really good. So now, I did mention one thing. This video is probably running really long, and I apologize for that. But I do want to get these thoughts out. I mentioned before that we'd go over why I chose white. I didn't want to, do this before because we're in the middle of painting. And by the way, I'm sure the clips that I got, it's probably not the best footage for, what I could have gotten. But it's really hard when I'm in here trying to concentrate on painting as somebody who has never painted before, and I'm worried about everything that has to do with painting and also trying to video. So it's, I don't know. Anyways, probably not the best footage, but I did my best given the circumstances. Maybe we can do a little better when we do the panels, because those have to come in next. I do know that when I tried the chest mount, I had it aimed way too low and you couldn't even see anything. So essentially none of that footage made it. So there's no real POV shots, which I like doing, but maybe I'll go back to the head mount. It's a little bit easier to make sure I get it aimed right. But anyways, why I chose white. So there's a few reasons. One, I do like how white looks. I think it's a good color. It's going to really, really pop once we've got all the black trim on it, like the fender flares, the spoiler, the taillight surround, all of the trim, every piece of trim. I am not having chrome on it. Everything is going to be black. It's really going to, I think, look really good once we've got that offsetting the white. I did go with, by the way, this is Eastwood's pure white. It is no pigment. It is 100% white. So it should be, say we have a incident in the future where I damage a panel, worst case scenario, I get in an accident or something, we get a scrape or something in a parking lot and I got to respray a panel. This is going to be the easiest by far to match, I would imagine, because there's no pigment in it. I mean, it's just white. So it should be good to go as far as that goes. I would imagine there really isn't anything to fade. I wouldn't think it's white, right? Again, not an expert. So other than that, white, this paint was by far the cheapest that I could find, sticking with Eastwood stuff. They did have some GM Fleet White, which is basically what you see on every Fleet pickup, all the white pickups that people buy for the, like their business or like the town and state municipalities and stuff like that. They all come in white. It's GM Fleet White. It's really cheap, but this actually was cheaper once I got looking into it. So it's actually a really good deal. It's like $111, $118 for a gallon. And it is ready mixed. You don't need to buy reducers, so it doesn't make quite as much. Once you put the activator with it, it's 5 quarts, obviously. And then the activator is 75-ish, 72, I forget. So really, it's $180, $190 a gallon, or for 5 quarts actually to spray, which I couldn't find anything cheaper without going to like really sketchy stuff like on eBay, and I wasn't sure. I know people have had good luck with it, but I wanted to make sure I stuck with Eastwood because that's what I started with from the beginning. So, I'm very happy with it. But it was by far the cheapest. Also, white is going to hide any other imperfections, like say I messed up some stuff on the bodywork and it's a little wavy. It'll hide some of that compared to black or a dark color. Any scratches in it is going to be really well hidden compared to a black or a dark color. And also, let's say I want to do a new color in the future. I can tell you right now, I'm not painting the interior ever again. That was absolutely terrible. Probably will never paint the engine bay again. Could happen though. That would be dependent on, a bunch of factors. But say I didn't paint the engine bay, didn't paint the interior, didn't do the jams and stuff. White is going to go with basically anything. Especially if I want to wrap the car, which could be something I'd want to do in the future. Say I decide I want to try wrapping the car. If you got everything else white, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But if I say I painted the car red, say we painted the car bright red, and I decided I wanted the car yellow, or I wanted the car blue or something like that, that red engine bay, red jams, going to look terrible compared to white. So overall, all of those factors are why I chose white. And it's not just because it's cheap and, hides my body work and stuff. I do like the color. I like white cars. So, but it does have to be. It's very easy for a white car to look boring, but I think when we've got the flares on it, we got the front lip on it, and we got the rear spoiler, the big 3-piece rear spoiler, stuff like that. I think it's going to be aggressive enough to look good in white. So, anyways, that's where we're at. I don't really know what else to say as far as the paint job. Again, we'll go over more of my thoughts once or the whole body work completely, I think, once we get done with the paint. But this is where we're at. Tomorrow, I'm most likely going to roll this thing into the barn so we can start pulling panels in, because this has to sit in somewhere. I can't keep it in here while I'm painting other stuff. So probably going to record that stuff. Maybe I can get some better POV shots and stuff like that of me painting the panels, but I do know I need to go a little bit lighter on the clear, especially on the vertical surfaces, which is going to be most of the stuff because I'm going to hang it up in here again so we can do the back and the front at the same time. Anyways, I guarantee this video is way long and I have talked way more than I need to, but I got a lot of thoughts in my head that I think you guys might want to hear. But, thank you to the guys who have made it through all the way to the end of this, because I'm sure it's a long video. Really appreciate you guys watching, and all the comments and all that stuff. But if you guys, anybody who's new wants to keep seeing me go through the building of the car, we got a 2JZ capable of 1,000 horsepower. That's not what it's going to make, but it is sitting over there ready to go in. And that I've got basically, 90% of the parts to put that in and get that running. We need miscellaneous stuff like fuel lines and stuff like that. But that, I guess, is going to do it. Leave me some comments. Like I said, if you're new and want to see me going through the rest of this process of building the car, finishing the bodywork, everything, and I'm trying to show every single thing that I think that might be of interest to somebody who is also new, in my situation. So, maybe hit the subscribe button. Leave me some comments. Like the video if you can, because that really helps. I also do have a Patreon if you want to go subscribe to that. I know there's not anything on there. I would like to start putting stuff on there, but I don't know what to put on there. So I do have a Patreon. All the links are down in the description of the video, or I'm BLOKgarage on everything. So I also have t-shirts. I know I don't have one on right now, but I do sell t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, mugs, all that stuff. That link will be down in the description too. But anyways, thank you guys who have stuck around to the end of the video. Hopefully I see you guys in the next one, but please let me know what you think of this, because I am really happy with how this is turning out. I'll see you guys in the next video.